Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to the Dumpster Fire Theater podcast. I am Secret Agent P, and today I am joined by.
Rylot, the best in life.
I'm also joined by.
DXJXC, but that's a mouthful, so DJ is simpler.
Hello again. This is episode 2 of our podcast that we are now calling Dumpster Fire Theater.
Some people are calling it that.
It's definitely something. So today we're going to talk about the MCU, specifically Phase 4. We're going to be discussing its misgivings, and supposedly there is a theme of grief, but we will get to that in a moment. Right now, I would like to talk about our sponsor today, which is you, by hitting that subscribe button and feeding the algorithm gods. Would you?
Yes.
Yes.
Including the little bell notification.
Yes, pay tribute to Algorithmo.
Algorithm. That's great.
Algorithm. Yes, the deity Algorithm.
And maybe one day we can get Raycon or Nord to sponsor us. Hell, maybe even Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't think we have to try that hard to get Raid Shadow Legends.
I'll still take it as a win. Anyway, on to the show. So, Phase 4 has been, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, what was supposed to be 3 years has been squeezed into 2 years, making everything feel really squished together. So, what started with WandaVision and has ended with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, there's been some ups and downs, and like I mentioned before, there's a supposed theme of grief throughout. Do we agree with this?
I definitely see it. In like I haven't watched everything in Phase 4, but there's certainly
There's a through line.
Yes. There is a through line, and DJ brought up a point. I have seen everything except for Eternals and Miss Marvel. I feel like Eternals will not be relevant to this specific topic.
Yeah, so as far as things that I haven't really watched, I haven't got around to the holiday specials, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. Well, I've watched the first episodes of both, so take that as is. Shang-Chi and Eternals, because I had no will to watch Eternals.
So no one here has seen Eternals. I guess that might speak for itself.
yeah, right. Yeah, no, I also haven't seen Eternals. I also didn't see Miss Marvel, and then I also didn't watch Hawkeye.
I recently rewatched Hawkeye this past Saturday with my wife, and it's still good.
Yeah.
And it's very much like a Christmas themed show, so
The Hawkeye saves Christmas. That's what it is. It's not a serious show by any means.
Oh no, but that's the best part about it, is that it's not serious. It has like some dry humor, and it's just enjoyable to me. But that's not what we're here for. So there's this through line of grief, and it starts with WandaVision, and Wanda is grieving over losing the said Vision, her love, who she had to kill in Infinity War, but then it was pointless because Thanos reversed that and killed Vision anyway.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's like, you need to kill me to save the universe. And then she does. Only to have that sacrifice reversed. Only so he could be killed in front of her again. Killing him the first time yeah, that was double shocking right there.
Yeah, right. Also, in case you're all unaware, this is going to contain spoilers.
Right, yeah, Infinity War and Endgame spoilers already.
Uh, you know, I feel like we shouldn't have to put a spoiler warning, but yeah, spoilers for a movie that came out 4 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, yeah, spoiler warning. We're talking about Phase 4. Obviously, things that happened in the previous 3 phases might get discussed, and yeah, we're probably going to be talking about the actual movies in Phase 4, like in about things towards the end too. So spoiler warning for basically just if it was a
Every.
Marvel and we watched it, we'll probably be talking about it. So spoiler warning for that.
So we were talking about Wanda's grieving, uh, and it resulted in her entrapping a whole town.
Yes.
Yeah, at first on accident, and then kind of on purpose.
Yeah, it was. That was one of those things about the show that I felt like probably had a change when they were writing or directing it at some point. Because at the very beginning, it is definitely showcased that she has no clue what's going on.
Yeah,
She has no clue until the end of episode 3.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder if that was an aspect of her powers, if that was just because they decided to change the direction of who they wanted the villain to be, or if there was like some other nefarious character that we still haven't been introduced to.
It's my understanding, while Agatha was in it, the part of her role was dramatically changed. That's just my understanding. It could be completely false. Also, Doctor Strange was supposed to show up for the finale, but then they changed that because they felt it would take away. But I think it would have just added, considering it was going to tie into the movie anyway.
Yeah.
This
Go ahead.
This is where having a year delay with a pandemic comes into play.
yeah,
Yeah. That's also kind of the problem with how big the Marvelverse has gotten, is that you have so many characters that should be responding to events taking place in other characters like shows or movies. And while you can write many of them away, it kind of gets to be very noticeable.
Very.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But that's go ahead.
and at the end of the show, it seemed like Wanda acknowledged, oh, I did a bad thing, and I feel bad. But there wasn't much she could do to fix it except stop it, and she did.
Yeah.
She stopped it. She had to. But
Yeah, like she literally gave up on on her, as far as she was aware, her love and children in order to free the town, and she apologized to them and left, and it seemed like she was moving on in her grief by letting it go, but
and then we get to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where it just exploded and got way worse.
We're wanting to talk about the movies first, yeah?
It literally does not matter.
yeah, we don't necessarily have to go through these in chronological order. And since we started with WandaVision, honestly, Doctor Strange is kind of a natural next
Segue.
Yeah.
That's the next time we see Wanda, and it's a good time to talk about the 180 in her narrative between those two appearances.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that reveal. I was enjoying that movie and I was looking forward to it. And I had no idea from the trailers that Wanda was the bad guy. I thought that from the trailers she was helping, but she had some unresolved issues that she was just bringing up to Stephen Strange. And when it was revealed in the movie, my enjoyment of the movie completely died, and I spent the next hour and a half just sitting in my chair, honestly not having a good time anymore.
Oh, for me, walking into the movie, I had a sneaking suspicion that Wanda was going to ultimately end up being the villain, just because of events that happened in WandaVision. But oh boy, was multiverse all over the place.
All over the place is correct. Apparently, the Illuminati and even America Chavez was not in the original script, and it's one of the things that was shoved in the movie against Sam Raimi's wishes was the whole Illuminati, which was a total waste, and I wish it wasn't in the movie. And
the Illuminati being kind of shoehorned in, not initially planned, seems to make sense as far as the movie is concerned, because they're basically just like a few scenes. They come in, they make like 3 cameos that to get to get literally the entire theater to cheer, and then they're killed off like 20 minutes later.
Like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, and you would think
Some
that
of them, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that the suits would have learned from Spider-Man 3 what happens when you force Sam Raimi to work on characters that he has no care for. Granted,
oh God, yeah.
I understand that he inherited this movie, so you have previous director works, mass script rewrites, pandemic happening. This movie honestly turned out better than I had thought. And it has a lot of topics and subjects that I think are interesting, but there's so much happening that they don't have enough time to actually like dedicate to a lot of these thoughts. And ultimately it killed the movie.
I will say though, if you came to see a Sam Raimi movie, you got a Sam Raimi movie. There's some good horror shots in it. And for a PG-13 movie, it's like a hard PG-13 movie.
Sure, yeah.
But the complete 180 of Wanda's character, I feel like, okay, first off, Sam Raimi straight up said he didn't see WandaVision and he didn't read anything about it.
Which was his first mistake.
Yeah, yes, which was his first mistake. So, and because I spent 9 episodes getting invested in Wanda in that show, to have it basically all wasted in this movie, it really hurt, honestly. It because Marvel's built up this, we need to connect it, watch everything, and then to basically have the whole show not matter, you could say.
You want to talk about a show that did not matter whatsoever in the entirety of Phase 4 was Loki.
Okay, so you're not wrong, but it was a damn good show.
It's a good show. It was the first show that they put out for
the third. It was the third show.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless,
I still have things to say about Doctor Strange, but all right.
right. I'm just making a point. Is the fact that like Loki had probably the most changing effect of the universe, and none of it is touched upon in any of the movies.
Right. Actually, that's kind of my problem with the entirety of Phase 4 is that none of anything have anything to do with anything else. With a few exceptions of like WandaVision and Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Basically just Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange gets around.
It's all pretty much
but, like,
isolated.
yeah. Everything is isolated.
I don't really have a problem with that. I just want to say it.
Nothing to do with anything. Thor had nothing to do with anything. Wakanda Forever had nothing to do with anything. I mean, whether the quality of these movies are all over the place, but my point being the continuity of these movies, they're completely separate. They could take place anywhere in the timeline. Hell, some of these could have taken place before the first Avengers movie, and you really wouldn't know the difference. Actually, Black Widow did take place before the first Avengers movie.
Wrong. It took place right after Civil War.
Oh, it took place before Civil War.
No.
Oh yeah. No, that's right. I remember them briefly mentioning that only to set up where it is in the timeline and it not being relevant to the story at all.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like I said, it could have easily have taken place before the first.
They kind of failed in regards of what Phase 1, 2, and 3 did, where it's like, not all those movies interconnected, but they set up the character arcs to get them where they needed to be. And even Phase 4 kind of failed to do that in a lot of aspects.
So, Phase 4 is dealing post-Endgame and the fallout of those events. Several shows mentioned the blip. Like, well, for instance, while Spider-Man Far From Home isn't in Phase 4, it still takes place after Endgame, and it introduces us to the blip, as they called it. And even in that movie, Spider-Man's going through his own grief, and it kind of starts, honestly, the theme here. And every movie in Phase 4, like DJ said, it's kind of its own thing. And I feel it's because everyone's dealing with the fallout of Thanos and the blip.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it's supposed to set up the world state for Phase 5, which I completely agree with. That's something that they need to do.
Supposedly, it's going to be Secret Wars, which I know absolutely nothing about. So, yeah. And I'm fine with things not being all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the quality is still there and it's a good movie or a good show, but there's some ups and downs here, and I'm wondering if Kevin Feige is being stretched too thin.
Yeah, I can tell you that. Between him and Jon Favreau having to bounce between both Marvel and Star Wars, it's a wonder that anything is happening right now.
I'll say this though, as far as the Marvel shows go, only one of them, in my opinion, was like really, really good. But
I liked What If.
Huh?
I liked What If.
We'll get to it. But over on the Star Wars side, there's only been one bad show. So the Star Wars shows are doing something right. But back to Marvel.
Yeah.
So you mentioned what if? So let's just get to that.
Okay, sure.
What do you like about it? So
I liked a lot of things about it. I liked the show. The concept. The plot twist with the whole Infinity
Avengers. The Guardians.
No.
The Guardians of the Universe.
No.
The multiverse.
That's it.
It?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. The freaking God, I can't remember his name. The robot.
Ultron.
Ultron. Yeah. That Infinity Ultron could, see the Watcher and
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best twists the show had.
So
If
And
Continue.
he actually started attacking the multiverse.
So while I liked What If, in retrospect, I have issues with it. I like the concept, but I feel like they're not doing enough with it. And they have stated that the future seasons, which are currently in production, and there is a second season coming out next year, will explore a lot more possibilities. Whereas the first one tried to keep it really more in tune with the current MCU.
Which was a folly because
It was a folly, yes.
it just caused so many consistency issues. And that's one thing that I've noticed about this phase was that they could not keep their own world consistent.
No, not at all.
They kept retconning a bunch of stuff just to like make plot happen. And I'm not saying retcons are a terrible thing if done correctly and done tastefully and then for betterment of the story. Take the sling ring, for instance.
Oh,
In the first Doctor Strange movie, it's introduced as a device that can allow you to go through the multiverse. But then in Doctor Strange 2, it can no longer do that for no reason.
I don't remember them saying it can go through the multiverse, but I'll just take your word for it.
I think I do remember them mentioning something about that.
Okay,
but
see,
maybe
there
not.
we go.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Like, here's the thing too. Even in the first Doctor Strange movie, the ancient one, she was able to just yeet Doctor Strange into the multiverse.
Well, his mind slash spirit
his
anyway.
astral form.
Yeah, but she was still able to send his astral form through the multiverse.
Which, to be fair, in Doctor Strange, magic has been shown to do that through dream walking and stuff like that.
The dream walking was interesting, I will say that.
I find it a interesting alternative compared to what the sling ring originally could do. Because I had wondered, like, what could match the sling ring's ability to do that, but like, dream walking is far more dangerous than you would think.
So I want to go back to Loki real fast. So Loki was basically Doctor Who, but Marvel.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
What DJ?
Is
Okay.
Go ahead, DJ.
I just said yeah.
Okay, Rylot, go. You find funny. We have dead air.
No, Taylor is talking. I can hear him in the other room.
Yeah, can you not hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
Say what you were saying again.
Oh, well, there's a new issue with Loki. It's the introduction of incursions.
Oh, yeah. That is going to be a problem. Well,
Because Sylvie is from an alternate timeline. Technically an alternate dimension.
Right. Incursions are a thing now.
Yep. Also, to just kind of double back on that point, wouldn't the fabric used to repair Doctor Strange's cloak cause an incursion?
I want to stop thinking about that terrible movie now. Who liked Moon Knight?
I don't think so, because I think that what causes the incursions is basically not necessarily things from other timelines or dimensions or whatever being in that dimension, but them being able to influence that dimension. So living things like humans can cascade because like timeline branches every time that somebody makes a decision type thing. But then
Right.
if you have somebody from a different timeline making decisions,
Right.
that cascades the influence exponentially over time, which is probably
Right.
what causes the incursions.
But they
But
also said that the longer that Doctor Strange and Chavez were there, the more likely an incursion would occur.
right, not necessarily because of their like
Physical presence.
material presence, but because of their influential presence.
Maybe. The problem is that they've introduced this concept that they gave practically no explanation for.
You're not wrong.
I feel it's another case of Sam Raimi made a movie without knowing all the interconnected stuff, which is kind of a problem.
I see, my thing is, I bet incursions never existed in the original script.
I would believe that. I
I
can easily believe that.
Right.
I feel. Go ahead.
You know, What If exists, and that's about the multiverse, and they don't mention incursions either.
Yeah.
True.
Because the likelihood of those guardians causing, the collapse of dimensions would be a thing. The Watchers would have absolutely not have built a team. So, I don't know. Like, incursions really just...
Okay, so we have a definite question now. Incursions. This is actually a bigger thing than I realized, so we're gonna have to if you have a theory about incursions, please leave a comment.
But
Yeah.
also, since we circled back to Doctor Strange and things that possibly weren't part of the story, it's weird that America Chavez wasn't originally part of the story, considering she's the MacGuffin of the movie.
Yes,
Well,
but
like the movie's final form doesn't happen without America in it.
well,
So it's weird that she wasn't originally planned to be in it.
the
Like that would have
setup.
been a very early change, right?
The setup is different, but what was pointed out in a recent podcast I listened to I can't actually remember. I think it was the Caravan of Garbage podcast. The third act of the movie is, or the like final act is Strange, becoming zombie Strange and defeating Wanda, and like Chavez doesn't do anything in there, and the rewrite happened to let Chavez defeat Scarlet Witch, but like that didn't have to happen at all. That was just a quick rewrite to make her relevant, because Steven was kicking her ass and winning anyway.
yeah. Just, moving on.
Yeah.
Also, since we were talking about it again, I wanted to just talk about Wanda's 180 real quick. So she in WandaVision, she's dealing with the grief of having her, her true love or whatever, forcefully taken from her, and she accidentally enslaves the town.
Yes.
Then in Doctor Strange, she's dealing with the grief of willingly giving up her imaginary children, and she decides to slaughter several universes.
Now,
No.
Yeah, that's messed up, and a lot of people will say, well, the Darkhold did it. Well, show me that. Show me the Darkhold taking her over, please.
Yeah. Put that in the movie. Don't just show, it's like, I had some children for a couple of days, and then I willingly gave them up, but I decided, you know what? No, I want them back, and so I'm going to destroy the multiverse for it.
And like, that's my thing too, is like, the children were imaginary. Why do they exist as they looked in WandaVision?
That's also a little bit weird, to be perfectly honest.
I don't have an explanation for that, but
Also, not to cut you off, but something I have to interject before I forget. Where the fuck was White Vision?
Okay,
I
so
was wondering that too. Honestly,
so White Vision is also a factor in Sam Raimi not knowing WandaVision, and two, White Vision currently has a show being made as we speak. I can't remember what it's called, but it has vision in the title. And also, we've spent a lot of time talking about Wanda and Doctor Strange. Let's move on.
there's a lot to be angry about in Doctor Strange.
I
to be
know,
fair.
I know. It is the most disappointing thing in Phase 4 for me. But
No.
But let's move on to Moon Knight.
Hang on. I know you want to talk about Moon Knight really bad. No, that's not the most disappointing thing. Black Widow was the most disappointing movie of Phase 4.
Okay, Black Widow was a movie that I don't want to give time to. I have seen that movie twice.
More than it deserves.
I mean, well, let's also not forget the movie that's so disappointing that nobody even bothered to watch it.
We can't talk about it because none of us seen it, so we can't talk about Eternals. Okay, as far as Black Widow goes, there is a good movie in there. The problem is all of the important tense family moments are killed off by Marvel humor, and Taskmaster was bullshit.
So,
I would argue Taskmaster wasn't bullshit enough.
I think the origin story of Taskmaster was
okay.
issue.
I didn't like the origin story.
I'm talking about the origin story. It was BS.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that front, DJ. Like, Taskmaster should have been more of opposing threat.
Way more of a threat.
What it ultimately turned out to be. Also,
there.
I will have to say that movie did introduce like one of my favorite characters, her sister.
And if you like Yelena, Hawkeye was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. No, honestly, Black Widow was kind of setting the ground for Marvel humor, kind of ruining a ton of important moments.
All of Thor 4.
Yeah. Which
I could definitely see that.
Speaking of, let's talk about Love and Thunder.
My God.
For a movie that is doing the cancer plot with Jane, and I want to make a point here. I didn't give a crap about Jane Foster before this movie, but in the short time she was in this movie, I actually gave a crap. And I was enjoying it, but all of her good moments were like, all of the emotional moments were overshadowed by comedy and quips. God, we even had...
It's the Ragnarok effect.
Thor Ragnarok was good, but a lot of Phase 4 movies didn't have as much oversight, and yeah, you're right. Ragnarok was so popular, they just overdid it. They let Taika Waititi just blow his load over it, you could say.
Yeah, Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy and all of the the comedies, they were so popular. They're like, all right, that settles it. All of our movies need to be funny. There needs to be a joke every 5 minutes. It's like, yeah, I'm dying of cancer, but at least I have superpowers now.
I'm so glad Wakanda Forever was not like this.
Me too.
Yeah. Because
it was so good because it wasn't constantly interjected with jokes.
Exactly. The problem with oversaturating the medium with comedy is you don't get moments like Winter Soldier or Iron Man 3. Like,
Iron Man 3 is so good, and if anyone disagrees with me, I'll fight them.
I will say, if it's not the best movie, and I understand a lot of the complaints the movie has, like, it's essentially Shane Black wanting to make a Shane Black movie. However, I love it so much because we get to see Tony being Tony and not as Iron Man.
So I'll just say this, and then we'll stop talking about Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is my favorite of the Iron Man trilogy, and yes, it is a Shane Black movie, but it's all the better for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's actually get to like Moon Knight. Like, I know you've been wanting to talk about Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is so fucking good.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like this is one that's constantly interjected with humor that it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Because it leaves the dark moments dark.
And
it has a good balance.
And hell, sometimes we don't even get to see the dark moments. We see the aftermath of them.
That's true.
The entire beginning, I wouldn't say the beginning segment, but the drive through the mountain.
Oh my
was
god.
So well done.
It was so good. Steven and Mark, their interactions. What is that actor's name? He did such a good job.
Isaac Oscar?
Isaac Oscar. Oh my god. And he was so burned by Disney and Star Wars. He only agreed to do the part if he didn't have to be contracted to return. But I think he actually enjoyed it, and I truly think we'll see more Moon Knight, and I really hope so because I want to see more.
Yeah. I love the.
Oh,
go ahead.
Go for your thing.
Nah, I talk too much. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, and who knows? Maybe Moon Knight season 2 will actually tie in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and not be its own separate thing.
Right.
Like
I actually liked that it was its own thing though.
Yeah, it made it stronger. I know that was a complaint we had earlier, but like some of these stories do need to take place in their own slice of lives.
Yeah,
Moon Knight was one of them.
I agree, and honestly, and Moon Knight did that perfectly. But it's just on the subject of, are we even sure it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It is.
Okay.
Wasn't I think there was even like MCU like hero merchandise in the shops in that show.
Maybe.
Yeah. A lot like Miss Marvel. Like the one episode Miss Marvel I watched, I honestly loved the fact that Marvel was its own brand name.
Yep. So looking at our list of releases, I think the reason Moon Knight stood out for being its own isolated thing was that it introduced a new character, whereas a lot of the things we've been talking about has been established characters that didn't connect anywhere, and maybe that's the problem, because it's established characters we've seen, and we've seen them on their own, and we're here to see them play with other things now, and they just didn't.
Well, I wouldn't say that's 100% true.
Okay.
Because, like, going back to characters after their storyline and hitting it up with other big players can always have its own interesting beat. The problem was the fact that not a lot of these characters were shown the level of respect that they should have gotten. You can tell based on Black Panther, like the difference in showing respect to a character and trying to copy Ragnarok for like the 100th time.
Let's talk about Black Panther now, because this movie is kind of...
If I may, can we save Black Panther for later?
Okay. We are 2/3 through the show. So let's quickly talk about the specials real fast. Get them gone, because I don't think either of you have seen Werewolf by Night or the Guardians Holiday Special. Have you?
Nope. I didn't even know they were a thing.
Okay, so Werewolf by Night and the holiday special are 45-minute specials, and they're kind of one shots, and they have been received quite well. And a lot of fans have stated if some of these shows were just specials, they think they would have liked them better, and I agree. And while I haven't seen Werewolf by Night, I've heard amazing things. It is a black and white story that takes place in like the 20s about vampires and werewolves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it may end up tying into Blade when that comes out. Now, I have seen the Guardians holiday special, and I highly recommend it. Is it amazing? No, but if you like the characters from Guardians, it is a short 40-minute fun adventure with some actual heartfelt moments. So while Marvel kind of was hit or miss on the movies and shows, the specials really brought it home.
Yeah. All right, and somebody, I think it was Rylot, mentioned that Moon Knight was possibly so good because it introduced a new character.
I said that.
You said that? All right. Let's talk about some of the other shows that were about new characters. How about we chronologically, that'd be Shang-Chi and the 10 Bracelets.
Go on.
I haven't watched the movie, so I'm stepping out of this conversation.
Okay. Okay, we will avoid spoilers for you. So Shang-Chi, I enjoyed it. I felt like something was off though, but I really, really enjoyed it. It tried to tell a heartfelt story, but I don't know. It kind of felt like a paint by numbers Marvel movie still, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
I will say it is the best live action Dragon Ball movie I've ever seen.
That's that's fair. The only live action Dragon Ball movie.
Oh yes, the only live action Dragon Ball movie. Now I like Shang-Chi, and I honestly want to see more of the character. I don't really care to watch the movie again, but the character is good. They've set him up well, and supposedly the rings are going to tie into Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah. So his sidekick was a little bit annoying, and I hope that she gets better writing in the future movies. Just she was very much a comedy relief character to be a comedy relief character.
That's kind of her point, and I actually liked her.
Right, but she was a textbook example of the cliche.
But it wasn't a cliche because she was not a love interest.
You don't have to be a love interest to be a comedy relief character, but okay.
Well, she's the female friend of the male lead, and the cliche is to make her a love interest, and I'm really happy they didn't do that.
Okay, but she's a textbook example of the comedy relief cliche.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's talk about one more movie before we move on to our second topic.
Okay.
So let's talk about while it may not be okay. So 2 movies because we also need to talk about Black Panther, but let's talk about this first. So let's talk about what may not be the best, like emotional or story wise or put together, but was still the best time I had at a theater in years. Spider-Man: No Way Home.
It's a freaking brilliant movie.
It's so good, and they tried to hide the secret like we didn't know.
Right.
I mean, hell, we even knew, but we were still uncertain enough, and it
was still so amazing to see Andrew Garfield pop up on screen. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, my interaction with the what the fuck did I just say? The Andrew Garfield movies. I watched the first one, and I enjoyed it. I never watched the second one.
So I'm gonna say it. Give it a watch someday, because while it's not better than the first one, but it's still better than Spider-Man 3.
I legit think that people give the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man way too much shit.
They really do, because even I actually saw Spider-Man 2 in theaters, and seeing the web swinging in that movie in 3D was fucking amazing. And the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies have not done web swinging like that, and it's been disappointing. But Andrew Garfield himself is so likable.
Yeah. I think, what was it? He makes a good Spider-Man, not a Peter Parker.
That was my impression of it as well. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like...
And Toby makes a better Spider-Man, but not a great Peter Parker.
Reverse that. I honestly think Toby made for a pretty good Peter Parker. Because, like, he was awkward and nerdy enough.
Yeah.
At least in the first two movies, I did not care for the third movie.
So Spider-Man No Way Home reintroduces 5 villains from the past, but really it only introduces 3, because 2 of them are just CG and kind of just there. But the big one is Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Alfred Molina, I'm sorry if I butchered that, Doc Ock. And to see these characters on screen, as well as Tobey Maguire, was very cathartic. And I don't think any other movie can accomplish that same feeling.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I took my mom to see it again, and it was her first viewing, and she hadn't seen any trailers, so she didn't know what to expect. And there was something so surreal about watching it with my mom and seeing Andrew Garfield and Willem Dafoe back, when my mom took me to see the first one back in 2002.
Yeah.
Like, nothing.
Feel old here.
I know, but no other viewing experience can give me that. So while you can say what any criticisms, legit or not, you may have about the movie to anybody out there, but no other movie can give me that.
Yeah. I honestly think it's criminal that No Way Home got nothing at the Oscars, but Black Panther did. Black Panther deserves it. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But, like, so did No Way Home.
Kevin Smith, outed or criticized the Oscars for not putting No Way Home up there. Like Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire aside, just Tom Holland's acting with, like, Aunt May dying and his reaction to seeing Green Goblin, and the subtleties that you don't even notice. It's so fucking good.
See, like, even William Dafoe, he has not lost his touch as Green Goblin. Like, it was still seeing him swap between Osborn and Green Goblin. It was so good.
Okay, so let's talk about Wakanda Forever real fast.
Yeah, because we're losing time.
Yes. So this movie is a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. And it was directed again by Ryan Coogler, who directed the first one. Now, Ryan Coogler also directed Creed. So, and let me just tell you, that's very much a movie about character and story and emotion. And while Black Panther 1 had some of that, this movie had a lot to carry, and Ryan Coogler, I think did a great job, especially with filming this during a pandemic.
Also, I just love the fact that both movies contain the same actor.
Oh yes, yes. Michael B. Jordan. Yes, all of these movies contain that him too. Yeah, it's so good. So when I heard that for Black Panther 2 they weren't recasting and it was going to be a tribute to Chadwick, I couldn't help but think of Fast and Furious 7, because Paul Walker died during production of the movie, and they decided to take the insurance money they made from that, which was $50 million, and they invested in finishing the movie with a CG Paul Walker. And that movie was very emotional and was a tribute to Paul Walker, and I loved it. So when I found out Wakanda Forever was doing the same thing, I was really looking forward to it.
Well, except they didn't CG resurrect the actor in order to.
Yeah. Honestly,
that's not my point.
Yeah, I feel like what they did was what they should have done for Leia Organa in Star Wars. They should have started off with the funeral scene, and it worked so damn well.
We will definitely talk about Leia and Rise of Skywalker at some point, Rylot. I promise you we will.
But overall, I liked Namor. I didn't think I would, to be honest.
I also didn't think I would, and when I first saw the wings, I'm like, that looks dumb. You know what? No. Hearing the little wisps of the wings is actually a terrifying sound when you know he's just coming to kill you.
Honestly, we know Wakanda is one of the more terrifying military forces on the planet, and watching them get their asses handed to them was not what I was expecting. Like, seeing their capital...
Oh, go ahead.
Seeing their capital just get waylaid the way it did, definitely caught me by surprise.
So
yeah, he's basically Atlantis Superman.
So my issue with that is there they have like barriers on the top, but did they really not put anything in the water?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't want to block the fish.
But like when they're straight up expecting a terrorist attacking them from the water, they're not gonna put something in the water.
Here's my theory with that. I don't think it ultimately mattered if the barrier was there or not, because they too also had very similar technology made with very similar materials.
That's true.
Yeah, that's kind of true, yeah.
How do the water bombs work?
It's
by flipping off physics.
I'm sure there's an explanation for it. It's like, if you can explain away Wakandan technology based on their fucking vibranium, I imagine you can do the same with Atlantean technology.
Yeah, it's
right.
quantum and nanobots. That's how it works.
I fucking hate that stuff. God, Ant-Man and the Wasp is gonna have me eye rolling so much when we get to it. But I'm still looking forward I'm still looking forward to that movie. But anyway, so in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Shuri is grieving from losing her brother, and all of Wakanda is still grieving from it, and you can really feel it. And she's kind of going through the stages throughout the movie, and once she actually becomes Black Panther, not because she wants to, but because she feels she has to.
Yeah.
And she gets angry, and when we see Killmonger, I was like, oh my god, this is great.
I appreciate the fact that we get to see what happens when you don't do the ritual and you go in just angry. Like, we get to see the opposite side of what happened in the first movie.
Yes.
And it was very well handled.
DJ, would you like to add anything about Black Panther before we move on to our follow-up question and in the show?
Yeah, I would just like to kind of take a moment, a little bit more of a, I guess I don't know, you could either think of it as a light-hearted humor or dark humor, but that Namor, or whatever they called him, and
Namor.
whatever his name was, I don't know.
Namor.
Sure. That basically he eavesdropped on a conversation where an angsty teenager was saying that she wanted to watch the world burn, and he's all supervillain laughed. We're not so different, you and I.
Yeah, you make a point, don't you?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's like she's young and she said that in a moment of grief. You're like 100 years old and genuinely hate the world. You are not the same.
Oh,
but
he's like hundreds of years old.
Yeah. The thing
Yeah.
is that he can actually use that to his advantage and get her to go onto his side, though, because he's also smart enough to figure out that difference. But she was really, really feeling just burning the world down.
He was playing a card, and it honestly could have worked.
Yeah. I will say one thing that the movie did incredibly well that I was incredibly nervous about: Ironheart.
Yeah, Ironheart wasn't as shoehorned in as I thought she would be.
Yeah.
I mean, she kind of was, because it was the whole, oh, she designed a thing for the government, then the government built it, and, a thing, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, we definitely need to find the person that designed it, not, destroy the plans or mess up the factories that actually built it or anything. No, we just need to catch the one person that has already sent away and moved on from the project and isn't involved in it anymore. We need to get that person.
Well,
why'd you gotta ruin it for me?
You still have to do that, because even if you get rid of the factories and stuff like that, she is still the mastermind.
And she could make more for other countries.
Yeah. So, I see what you're saying, and they could have probably acknowledged sending other, task forces to different parts of the world, and essentially accomplishing what fucking France and England failed to do in the beginning of the movie.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, that was
funny, yeah.
But I liked how terrible her suit was. And I also liked the Wakandan version of the Ironheart suit. I also appreciate the fact that they got rid of it for the next movie or show, whatever she's gonna be in.
Yeah, they had to get back to kind of a status quo to make her show kind of relevant.
Yep, and hopefully she get rid of that godforsaken arm design.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I will say I'm looking forward to the show. So they did that right.
Yeah. I originally had no intentions of watching it, but after seeing just how well they handled the character in Black Panther, I'm actually excited to watch Ironheart.
Okay.
Interesting side fact. I'm pretty sure no one liked the Ironheart comics. So I know nothing of Ironheart herself. Makes me wonder if they stuck to her character or if they changed the character for the MCU.
I've heard good things about the comics, but it's also my understanding that the comics are 6 years old, and it's still a relatively new character. So
Yeah.
who knows what's going on with it.
Very true. But anyway, on to the last topic.
Okay, so we talked a lot about different aspects of Phase 4, ups and downs, and the sheer fact that there's just been a lot of content to digest in 2 years.
Yeah.
And
No, I thought of another inconsistency. Do you guys really think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier and She-Hulk take place on the same Earth? Because one had a lot more like geopolitical economic discourse, and then the other one was just basically set in like a big city, but with none of the drama of like the housing crisis and whatnot that Falcon and the Winter Soldier had. A big city would experience the housing crisis way worse than Falcon and the than the suburbs did.
Okay, so a few things. She-Hulk takes place over a year after Falcon and Winter Soldier, so maybe they got those problems fixed. 2, She-Hulk takes
a year. Maybe the senator did better.
Shut up. And 2, She-Hulk takes place in Los Angeles, while every other aspect of the MCU basically takes place in New York or elsewhere. Also, it was supposed to be a lighthearted comedy show, and that's why those topics never got brought up.
Yeah, sure. But it's just, they don't feel like they belong in the same universe. It's all over the place.
Listen, if you... me and you watched She-Hulk together, and let's face it, She-Hulk itself, the show, kind of felt like it was a show in the universe.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
So it feels like it's disconnected from the universe itself.
Yeah, like it's thematically disconnected from the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say that's the problem with not having one person sitting down and doing a consistency check with the shows and movies over a course of period.
But it's also my understanding that She-Hulk's supposed to be that way. That's just how the character is in the comics.
Yeah. I also don't think that She-Hulk connects with Phase 4's grief theme.
So it definitely doesn't.
So one episode I watched, the first episode, does dive into Bruce's traumas.
Yeah, yes, but
very, very briefly, and I wouldn't say that it's a theme.
And it's never touched on again.
Right.
Also, the first episode of She-Hulk really doesn't do the show justice.
Really doesn't.
Now, back to the outro. I was getting to before I was interrupted.
All right. Yeah. Well, we had 2 shows that we hadn't talked about, and I just wanted to quickly throw something in about them.
Okay. Anyway.
And now we're done. So.
Okay. We are 3 minutes past time, but you know what? It's not an hour, so I'll take it. So, with Phase 4 being compiled together and Kevin Feige being stretched thin, then unlike Phase 3, which was pretty much not problematic at all, we have these issues we have talked about. So the past few years, Disney has had a different CEO. They've had Bob Chapek. Now, before him was Bob Iger, who had been CEO for, I don't actually have the numbers in front of me, but he's been the Disney CEO for like 15 years before then. He was responsible for Disney buying Marvel and Star Wars to begin with, as well as improving the Disney theme parks and just a lot of good things at Disney. And he decided to retire in, I believe, 2020. The pandemic maybe had an effect, but whatever. He decided to retire, and he appointed Bob Chapek to replace him. And since then, we've had Bob Chapek, and since then the Disney theme parks have gone to crap, hella expensive. Bob Chapek, when he started, Disney Plus was just now becoming a thing, and he pretty much wanted all efforts going to promoting Disney Plus, putting content on Disney Plus, and making it the place to be, the thing to have, to the detriment of the previously mentioned theme parks, and as we can see, to the detriment of the MCU and Kevin Feige in general. This also affected Star Wars, but we can talk about that some other time. So, Bob Chapek is officially out after 2 to 2.5 years of being CEO. He's out, and Bob Iger is back in charge. And supposedly, he is going over Phase 4 and what's upcoming in Marvel's phases 5 and 6, which we do know some of the properties and some release dates. And he is wanting quality over quantity. Do we think this is a good thing?
Always.
Yeah, I'd really like quality over quantity, because we got too much. There's something to be said for the burnout of all of the shows. Like, we've got how many? 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 7 shows and 1, 2, 3, 7 movies. Granted, Spider-Man was technically Sony, but yes.
But still, that's more than one new thing every month, and that's not even counting, other Disney things like Star Wars. They also did like 10 things, and then they've got their non-Marvel, non-Star Wars Disney stuff for for kids and families. Like, there's just a lot of Disney burnout, and I think that's cutting down on quantity and focusing on quality would be very much appreciated.
I will say just Overload is straight up why I haven't watched Miss Marvel, and I haven't bothered. It's one of the factors of why I haven't watched Eternals, other than the fact that it just looked boring. But Miss Marvel I was looking forward to, but then when it came out, I was just burned out on all the content, so I didn't bother.
Yeah. Plus, something else came out at the same time. What was it?
I don't remember. Go on, Rylot.
I will say, for me, I'm not necessarily having like IP burnout. What I'm having issues with is the crap. Like, it's all just not the same quality it was in years past, and it's what's making me not care.
So having crap will definitely make the burnout worse.
Yeah.
Now, I want to quickly flip over to Andor in Star Wars, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't give a shit about Andor when I heard about it, but they actually spent time and quality on that show, and it seems like there was no CEO overreach on it, and it got to do its own thing, and it turned into a 12 episode quality show that in my opinion is better than, except for maybe Wakanda Forever, that show is better than anything Phase 4 put out, movie or show wise. So, and Star Wars does not release as much stuff as Marvel has in the past two years, so there's definitely a reference point for quality over quantity here, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I haven't watched Andor or whatever. Yeah, honestly, you can kind of compare a lot of what's happening to Marvel to what's happened to Star Wars. You can see very much the similarities.
Because Star Wars came out of the gate, we're going to release a movie every year, and we're gonna do all these shows, and there's movies tripped and fell on their face.
Yeah. And it also shows what happens when you don't have a mastermind controlling all of it.
Oh God, yes, that was a wreck. And Marvel has that, but it's very apparent he's being stretched thin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Star Wars kind of tripped and fell a lot faster than Marvel did. Marvel's kind of just stumbled, but it's still moving along. So
Yeah. Marvel has not hit the point of I don't want to watch it anymore. I still very much do. I just want it to be worth my time. And some of the stuff in Phase 4 was, quite a bit of it wasn't.
So let me throw this question out there. 3 things that you think are worth it from Phase 4.
So, okay.
So just top 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Moon Knight. Moon Knight was worth it. Wakanda Forever was worth it, and Spider-Man was worth it. And honestly, I could lose everything else here and be happy.
I'm gonna be just a little bit different. I'm gonna go with Loki, Moon Knight, and Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
So I'm stuck in between. Funnily enough, obviously Black Panther and No Way Home were fantastic. I'm going to say Moon Knight for my third, just over Loki, and the reason being, Loki suffered being a 6-episode show because the transition from 2012 Loki to modern day Loki was too short.
Yeah, they really had to montage that, didn't they?
Yeah.
I didn't really mind it because I understood what they were doing, and also keep note that while they did like montage him to progress his character, this isn't the same Loki that was killed in Infinity War. This is a similar but different Loki.
I know, but if you go back and watch like Avengers Loki and then see the Loki that we get in the show, there's a difference.
Yes,
They're
but
supposed to be.
yes, but it was pointed out that the moment he realizes the Infinity Stones are paperweights, that's his oh shit, everything I know is wrong moment.
Right.
And it breaks him.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and
Actually kind of an inconsistency with What If, because the Infinity Stones are just paperweights outside of their native reality.
I don't know how Ultron was still able to use them in the multiverse. And also, go ahead.
Maybe it's because What If is a what if, and it's not canon to anything, so they can just do whatever they want.
I mean, sure, but at least keep it somewhat consistent with like the rules set up in the universe. Like, yeah. I find it very hard to believe that a device created to break Infinity Stones couldn't work on all Infinity Stones. Like,
I forgot that happened. Yeah, but
I also forgot that happened.
Okay, so we're actually pretty consistent on our top 3, which I don't know if that says something about the product that we were given, or something about the 3 of us just having similar interests. But
I have to say quality of product, because there's a lot of times we butt heads on what we think is good and what we think is bad.
Oh yeah, you make a point, but we're pretty consistent on Moon Knight and Black Panther.
I have a hard time saying that Spider-Man's my favorite because of all the plot holes.
No, that I thought about that too, but when I thought of it as what 3 things would I keep if nothing else in this list existed, and I would want to keep Spider-Man.
I wouldn't even say that Spider-Man had too many plot holes.
It it
Like,
what
yeah, there are some glaring issues for sure, but
it's not the plot holes for me. For me, with that movie, it's the very specific we're gonna have silences waiting for the audience cheers kind of moments that the movie has, that you don't realize it until you're watching it at home. Anyway, so this has been a discussion over Marvel Phase 4. I hope you all liked it. Before we go, let's say let's just remind the viewers who we are, and what are we currently up to in our personal lives. Rylot, you start us off.
well, as everyone knows, I am Rylot. I talk way too much. Also, I completed the surgery on my Switch, and it's no longer trying to incinerate. So yeah, plus all around.
Cool. DJ, what are you up to?
Um, I guess completing Scarlet and Violet. Uh, pretty much just got to make a live dex, I guess. Completed the regular Pokédex and all of the post games. So,
Okay. Well, I am Secret Agent P, the channel you are, of course, viewing this on, and I have been when I'm not doing Pokemon or forging in a Halo, I've started a series on my YouTube channel that I'm calling Trauma Response, where I put my thoughts and emotions about media I consume, and the thoughts that the media like triggers in my brain, and these videos are a way of expressing those feelings. And it's kind of a form of therapy, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah. I just felt like plugging that. Sorry.
No,
No,
it's
yeah,
your
no, just
channel. It's
plug-
not like you
plug
plug
away.
your stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I've made 2 videos in the series, and I'm just actually really proud of them, and I have more planned. Okay, well, that has been Dumpster Fire Theater, and bye, guys.
Later.
bye.